All right, it's recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Penn State World Campus Tech Club. My name is Ray Baker, and tonight our guest is security analyst Joab Kose. I hope I said that properly. Talking about static malware analysis. So with that, I will turn it over to Joab.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy today to join you guys in this session. I do hope some more people will join us as we go along. This session, we're going to be talking about static malware analysis. We're going to go through like some of the things which have been happening around of recent. We're gonna look at some of the stuff, how to do analysis, what exactly we look at when we analyzing malware and everything. So you guys are welcome. So about me, my name is Joab Kose. As I did say, I'm a security analyst. I'm measuring basically on threat and response on malware and digital forensics. So I deal most of the times with malware, trying to know exactly what happened, how it happened, and possibly where the malware came from. And to do this, sometimes we need to be able to extract that malware from infected computers, and that brings in digital forensics, to know like how to grab the memory, know how to follow what was happening and get hold of that. That having said and done, we'll just got the introduction and the overview of what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to introduce like the topic. We're going to see what is happening in the cyberspace. For the last few months, we're going to look into analysis, some of the techniques used to analyze malware, some of the tools that are freely available for somebody who wants to dive into the field. So introduction part of it, we know like malware right now is the biggest threat that is being faced in cyberspace. I think it's less than 2 weeks ago, Texas was hit by coordinated ransomware attack, bringing down 23 state-owned services that were like 23 cities. And right now they're still like recovering from that. They demanded like over $22.5 million for that. And before that, just like 2 months before that, Florida state had like an attack in 2 cities, Riviera and Lake City, and they paid a lot of money for that. And we know that after the attack in Florida, the mayors came together all over throughout the country, and they say like they're not gonna pay any ransom demand. So these are just some of the things we see happening, things which are brought in the public domain. The real thing is like so many things happening behind the scene, and some people just choose not to talk about them because they want to keep like their image, their businesses. They want to make their customers know that like wherever they deal with, their assets are safe and something like that. But the thing is, the problem is facing the industry, and if you trace back, you realize like they usually originate from malware attack. A recent research done by Cisco shows like every day there are like over 1,000 new malwares which are like built every day. So this is something that is happening. Malware is a software program which has like a malicious intent. People create malware to do something on the victim's machine without their permission. They could be like watching them. They want to steal information. They want to record like the keystroke and everything. And they come in like many forms. We have like the spyware, hardware. We have the rootkits, ransomware. There's so many types of malwares. Even cookies sometimes could be malwares because we have like malicious cookies. They're just on your browser and doing uh, things behind the scene which we usually don't know. So seeing all these things, sometimes there's a need for us to know exactly what's happening on our computers, like what do they do? Um, and there's so many reasons why the guys who venture in writing these malwares do so. Some people just want to brag like, hey, I can do stuff with my computer. Look at what I can do. People are suffering. You see like how fast my thing is spreading just to have like that fame and be like on the whitelist or something like that. Some people are making this as a business because if you can see like the screen on my screen, I'll just try to have like a laser. So this screen shows this is a new malware which was discovered last week. It's called NemT. So this malware is kind of like, if you look at the code, it, ha it has some ties with Russia and something like that. But one thing that made me put this image is like, you see, so when your computer is encrypted and they ask you to pay, here they tell you like, this is business. They don't care about you and your deals. So they just need money. So this shows like people are really doing this right now for money because it's their business. So there's a need to come up with ways to protect from all these threats and everything. Um, when we do analysis, we usually have like goals of exactly what we want to do. Why do we do analysis? So first of all, before you start doing analysis, you need to get like that malware. So first thing is being able to to get hold of that malicious code. And this is where digital forensics comes in. You want to know like, okay, this system was infected, the company lost this data and stuff and that. But before you can know exactly what the malware does or where it came from, who made it, or who it communicates with, you need to grab it and be able to do analysis. So the main purpose of malware analysis is usually to provide information to respond to network intrusion, because once you know what the malware does and where it came from, how it communicates with the remote server, you should be able to come up with like the fastest way to stop it or just to reduce the damage. Another reason is to determine exactly what happens like once the malware is in the system, like in the target, the victim's machine. What does it do? What files does it access? How does it access it? What does it do? Is it stealing information? Is it just like encrypting the information and demanding somebody to pay some ransom or stuff like that? And the other thing that we should be looking, having at the back of our mind when doing the analysis is uh, being able to get like, if you get the malware, we should be able to know like what is the reason behind the malware. In the binary, if we get the malware and be able to get the binary and the code and do maybe like reverse engineering, we should be able to know exactly the reason why that thing was written. And once you know, it's, they say you need to understand your enemy to stop them, set a thief to catch a thief. So basically, these are some of the goals that whenever like you wanna start analysis, you should have at the back of your mind. There's basically 4 types of malware analysis, and whenever you do, okay, so here's the thing. When there is like a breach, we look for the fastest way to stop it. So we want to get like the best way to get the information about the malware. So there's so many ways, like you're gonna try the best way that will give you the best lead in the shortest period possible. So that's why the malware analysis process is basically divided in 4 categories. So first we have like basic static analysis, which consists of like just trying to examine the program without running it. You're gonna like just try to get the leads, like what could it be doing? Like, is it accessing some files from my computer? Is it uh, sending it to someone somewhere? Is it communicating with someone? And then basic dynamic analysis involve running the malware and observing its behavior. So when we do this type of analysis, it's kind of like risky because um, you need to set like a sandbox, a test environment, safe, where like you won't affect the network where you're doing the test or your host machine. So most of the times we do this like on virtual machines, which are just set for malware analysis, and through running the code, and you monitor what is happening, and we should be able to know exactly what's happening. So that's basic analysis. And basic dynamic analysis. And then we have advanced static analysis, which consists of reverse engineering. So basically what is involved here, like we're gonna get the code and we're gonna break it down, we're gonna dissect it, and then we're gonna go through the code line by line and just get to know like, okay, this is exactly what's going on. This is the function that does 1, 2, 3. This function calls the next function and something like that. So we reverse engineer the malware code and be able like to get the internals of that. Most of the times we use disassembler programs, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And the last method is advanced dynamic analysis, which um, is used as a debugger to examine internal state. So at this point, you're gonna like dissect the code and running at the same time. So you're gonna be running the code and see like how they work and everything that's happening. So for today, we want to talk about the dynamic analysis. We're gonna combine the basic static analysis with the advanced static analysis. Uh, so to do all this analysis and get the information that you need or that you want from the malware, there are tools. You need some tools to help you do this, but the tool is just a tool, as the name. You need to know exactly what you're doing. You need to know like what's happening. If this happens, what does that mean? If I see like, oh, this is a function, there's this piece of or string saying XYZ, what does that mean? So you need to know exactly what's happening. You need to know what you do. You need to know like how the tool works. And there's so many tools you can use depending on exactly what you want. And that's the first question. You need to know exactly what you want when you have like a piece of code that you want to analyze. So there's some few rules like whenever you using these tools, because different tools give you different results depending on what you want. So I just listed these 3 things just to help in case like you want to try some tools which are freely, they're open source, they're freely available. So don't get too caught up in the details, because sometimes some of the malware we do analyze are like the big, they have like hundreds or even thousands of lines. So if you want to go into details of each and every line, you're going to lose focus and don't meet the goal of like finding, because by the time you're doing that one, the infection is still going on like in the affected machine. So the thing is, get the fastest lead to help stop the breach. And we also need to know like different tools have different approaches, and they are usually available for different jobs. So the tool that you're going to choose should be good for the job that you want to do. So you need to know the exact tool you want. So for instance, I'd be like, okay, I want to just find out the strings in this piece of code. So I will look for a tool that will help me to grab the strings from a given piece of program, and then from all these strings, I'll get something like, like when somebody writes a code, sometimes they put like comments, they comment something and say like, oh, this, that, and that. So if we're able to get that string, that's gonna help us to at least get to know exactly what that thing does. The last thing that I'll say is that malware analysis is like a cat and mouse game. Malware writers, the others are very smart. They change every day because they're very smart people. They're dedicated. They spend, like, some people is like a business, as we did say before. They spend money, they spend time. In short, they invest their resources so that they can get profit from every piece of code that they write. And one example I give about this is like there's some malicious program, like you put them on a VM machine and they detect that this is a VM, we are running on a different platform, and then they disable everything. You won't be able to get exactly what you want. So you should be able to know that, okay, if I run this on a VMware or like on a virtual machine, I might not be able to get exactly what I want. So you just need to know what you're looking for. So the different tools that can be used, I just pick like a couple of them, and we're going to be looking at some of these tools. I combined both the basic static analysis tools and the advanced static analysis tools, and I'll try to explain exactly what they do and maybe how to find them. And then by the end of the session, if you guys have questions, you're going to have like some times for questions and answers. So tool number one. So the first thing I usually do, like when I have malware, um, I'll run it quick through scanners, like, like antivirus programs. So there's this website called Virus Total. Is made up, like, they have like over 100 different uh, antivirus from different vendors. So whenever you upload like a piece of program on that website, you're gonna get like results. If it's a new malware, they might not detect it. So I did like this quick run, and this is the website. So they give you like option to upload file from your local PC. You can use like a URL or something like a search. And then once you upload like the file that you want to do a quick scan on, you're gonna get like the results. For instance, in this image, you see like this malware was detected by only 14 tools out of 66. So we know like some antivirus tools will not be able to detect virus because some viruses are new, some malware, like they evade detection by changing codes, they change some lines, and sometimes they just change the fingerprinting, which is used by most of the scanning tools. So the first thing, like, you want to do quick, because the main goal is to get like the fastest way to know like if this thing is existing. Like, so you're gonna run it, like you're gonna do fast run, and if you find nothing, and then maybe you go the next stage. And the next tool that you can use is to do hashing. So hashing is basically giving like is like fingerprinting. So if I do hash, I'll have like let's say a PDF X, and if I give it like a hash, it will have like, this is a unique hash. You will never find anything which has the same hash. So the reason why we do hashing is because once you do hashing and then you search this hash of that given malware, you might find like there's somebody who already worked on it. You might find some details about that software, and then you don't have to go through all the process of like reinventing the wheel and having to do. So once you use that, you can share the hash with, you can give it like a label, you can share it with like your colleagues or other analysts who maybe have worked on it before, or maybe have like some information about it. It's just like trying to make work easy, and maybe there's somebody worked on it, and if you get somebody worked on that piece of code, and then it helps you, like you don't have to go through all process, and that reduces the time that you can use to stop the attack. The other tool that I will use is so finding strings in a piece of code is the best, is the next best option whenever like you want to do like a quick um, analysis. We know like when someone is writing codes, we know like if, for instance, this piece of code should be communicating with the remote server or something. So in the string, you can find maybe like an IP address. You might find like a URL. You might find like something like just something that will give you a lead of like what's happening. So a string is in a program is just a sequence of characters such as like just a line of sentence or something like that. So program contains like strings. If it prints a message, it connects to a remote server, copies a file to specific location. And searching through strings can be like very simple to get hints about the functionality of a given program. So that's like so basic. You don't need like to start like dissecting that program, trying to find like super detail about that thing, or while you can just like get a string and let you know, oh, we have like an IP address and this. So if I get like IP address, that means, oh, this thing must be talking to someone somewhere. So you can just like start working with the IP address. So if you stop, maybe block the port that IP address, you could save the company, you could save the organization or whoever you're working for. We see like from this image that I touched on this presentation, like there's these three. So this is like a function. So get layout, we have GDI type2.dlo, set layout. So these are functions. So basically we know this is a Windows based malware, because these mostly functions which are imported and used in Windows um, platform. And then we get like this message here. It says like mail system DLO is invalid. So cannot send mail, the send mail failed to send message. So from this message, we already know like, okay, there is like the this software should be sending mail to someone, and that just failed. So that give us some information about the malware. So we're gonna try to find as many strings as we can and there's so many tools we can use, like there's WinDB, WinString. That's something you need to install. But if you're using like Unix or something, that just like you can just like use Linux based and find strings on a given malware program. The next tool I want to talk about is called the dependency worker. So this is also a freely available tool and is used mostly on Windows-based platform. This tool helps it grabs all the imports and imported functions and exported functions. So basically what happens when you write a piece of program, either in Python, C, or in Java, you're gonna be like importing some libraries. Like in Python, you will import maybe, let's say, you will import C's, you import maybe OS, you will import maybe request or something like that. In C, you will be including, like you'll include libraries like input, output library. You will import just like, because these are inbuilt libraries that a given program will need to do uh, 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 certain functionality. So this tool grabs all the functions which are imported and exported, and through these functions you can say, oh, so this guy is importing this function, so we know this function does XYZ. So once we know like what functions the program is importing, so we can say, okay, so this malware is doing this. So it's a very nice tool for getting like the easy and fast info that can help you make a decision, a very fast decision to help stop the spread of a malware. Uh, Basically, what happens, you just run this on Windows, and then on the file, you just like import and then go to the malware program, wherever, and then it will just do the analysis and give the feedback of everything. So it will, these are all the functions which are important, then the modules, it gives you the file timestamp and the file size, the attributes, the link checksum, the real checksum. It gives you the CPU, like the processor which is used and everything. So it's a very good tool, like you guys might need to check out. The next tool that I will look at is it's called the Resource Hacker. Okay, this is also a Windows-based tool. What it does is it grabs all the resources on a given that a given program is using. So it extracts, adds and modify most resources like strings, images, menus, dialogues, version info, manifests, resources, and so many things. So if we have like this one was run against this program, and we know like the info, we have like the file version, the production version, the file type, the block, string, file info. It gives you most of the details that can help you just to make like a very quick and fast decision on what to do with a given malware. So there's so many tools which are used in basic static malware analysis. And the main reason is just to get information about that piece of program you have, and just without running it, because running it could lead to something else, like it could infect something, it could stop working, or maybe it could just send like a signal to a remote server and tell the guy, oh, the program is running on a platform which it wasn't built for. So what can we do? And then the guy can just like shut it down or something like that. So this is the first thing you want to do with a piece of malware, if you have like you're able to get it. But the thing is, like, this all process, the basic static analysis might not give you all the information you need. You might spend like a lot of time trying to find all the data, but you don't get any lead. So that's why you need to try tools, and you need to know exactly what you're looking for. And once you know, like, hey, I'm looking to know like if this piece of malware is communicating with like a remote serve or somebody, and then you will go for a tool that can be able to give that piece of information. So in the next two tools that I want to talk about, mostly used for advanced static analysis. And if you guys are interested in like malware analysis, these are some of the tools that you really want to try, because I'm going to be talking the next two tools, and the tools that we're going to see next, they combine everything that the tools we have seen so far can do. So the next tool is the IDA Pro. IDA Pro is, this is a commercial software, but it has both uh, open source and commercial, but using the open source doesn't give you all the functionalities that you get with the commercial. So it's kind of like very expensive, and most of the experts in malware analysis use, they have been using like, this is what most of the people use. So what the tool does is it, okay, let me put this in a very simple way. So whenever a program is it's compiled, you're gonna write like your C program, and then you compile it. You compile it into binary. Binary is like, that's the language that a computer will understand, zeros and ones. And from that, there's nothing we can get, like from human perspective, we can't understand anything. So when you get that piece of compiled program, we need to decompile it, and that's where we need a tool like IDA-Pro. So what it does is it decompiles the machine code into low level. We call it like, this is machine, this assembly language. It brings it back to assembly language, which is just consisting of instructions like push, call, move, drop, something like that. So if you want to use this tool, first thing you need some level of understanding in assembly language. You need to know like, okay, call, what does call do? You need to know like these registers like EX, EDX, and what, these are just like memory registers. So this tool breaks the code into assembly language, and then you are able to see exactly everything that's happening. That's not it. So it can give you like a graphical presentation of how the functions are linked from the previous function, and then when this function runs, it should go the next function, and how the loops are going from like this. These are loops. You see the red line, these are loop. So this is basically like, if this doesn't work, go back up, and we see all these loops. So if you can be able to understand all these instructions and the logics, and then you are able to know exactly what that piece of code is doing. IDA-Pro also give you all the functions which are used in that piece of code. So from here, we know like we close handle all these functions, exit process, message box, so many functions we have here. So from these given functions, we should know, okay, we have these functions, and this function is accessing files. So this piece of code should be accessing some files on the victim machine. It's one of the best tool until recently something came out, but I think it's still one of the best. The next tool we're gonna be talking about is still like, people still trying to learn about it. But I think it's better than Hydra because I've tried it for a while. So yeah, so you're gonna go through all these, just learn how to use IDA-Pro. Is one of the best tools you will need, like if you want to do malware analysis or just do reverse engineering. Some people just crack codes, like if it's a game, they just take the code, bring it in IDA-Pro, and find where like they need the password or wherever, and then just get the password from the code or whatever is needed. So this is basically used for reverse engineering. Cool tool, like you need it, like you need to find it if you want to do malware analysis. The next tool that we'll talk is, this is Ghidra. So Ghidra is a new tool, is a SRE, software reverse engineering tool. This was released by the the NSA to the public. It's open source, it's free, it's cross-platform, it works on Mac, it works on Windows, it works on Linux platforms. You don't need to install it. You just create like a directory and then extract it and then install Java, and then you're good to go. This tool also allows you to create your own plugins. Like if you know exactly what you're doing and what you want, and you feel like it is not giving you exactly what you want to do, you are able to create your own plugins and import that plugin and use it within the Ghidra platform. One best feature of this tool, which IDA-Pro doesn't have, is, we saw in the previous, it just gives you like the assembly language. This is assembly language. So if you're not able to understand this, you won't get like much information with the Ghidra. But this is different, like when it comes, I mean, with IDA Pro, when it comes to Ghidra, so if you have like a function, it's gonna try to, it will break it to binary, this assembly language, and then try to make it in the high level language. For instance, this is a C pseudocode. So this function, we know like this is a function which does something, and then we have like the variables, we have like the parameters, and then there's like a function happening, and then we see there's a if statement, and then this should be like a print, and then we know this is something we understand like just by seeing this. And you also able to like to edit if you feel like this variable is not easy to understand. You can just like give it the name you think you can remember, and once you give it, then that variable is overridden all over the tool. It's one tool that allows you also to run the software that, for instance, if you have like the malware, we can run it and it will run within the Ghidra, and we will see everything that's happening, and we see how it interacts and everything. So this is one of the best tool that I would recommend, that if you wanna go into malware analysis, you should check out. It comes with a lot of challenges from installation, and you need to, because it's something that is still new right now, and you need to know exactly what to do. So that's like if you are interested in static analysis and you need to get all this information without running, putting yourself in risk of losing your files, because sometimes if you run the malware on your host machine, or if you think you have created like a sandbox, you have like a virtual machine, like a contained environment, and something will still go wrong because these guys writing malware can like, they're very complicated, they are smart, they spend their time and they know what they do. And when we do the analysis, we start from the point where we don't know exactly what the piece of code is doing. So we need to find out. So if you don't do the right thing, you might end up like destroying your resources and not getting exactly what you're looking for. So that basically is about static malware analysis. Something that I would like also to talk about in the field is like, these come in handy like with digital forensics. So before you can start like analyzing, you need to have a way of getting that piece of code. And we see like right now, most of the attacks we see around like ransomware based ransomware attack. And we know like once you have like a ransomware attack, everything, the disk is encrypted with very strong encryptions, and it's only the attacker who has the secret key. So sometimes it becomes hard to obtain that piece of code. So that's why like you also need like digital forensic skills, how to obtain that piece of code and know exactly what happened, go through like timestamps and stuff like that. So having that said, I would like if you guys have like a question or something that need to be elaborated or like explained, I think this will be the best time. Hello? Right?
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Are there any good places to get samples to start learning?
To get malware samples?
Yeah.
Yes. So their malware their website with like malware samples, but you don't want to trust them because like sometimes they're just like trap, or sometimes it's just honeypot or something like that. But I do have samples. Like if someone is interested, I can share with you, and then find a way to share with like your team, something like that. Yeah, I can even share like how to create like your own test environment so that you are safe when doing like your own analysis, trying to get information about given piece of code.
Maria's asking, she said, I'm interested. Perhaps we can set another time on how to do that.
Come again?
Somebody wanted to just speak to you about that at another time. Maybe you can give them your email. Was your contact info on this PowerPoint?
I can add I can add that.
Just in case anybody wants anything.
Yeah, I will add that. I will just add that one super fast.
Does anybody else have anything before we go?
Text box.
Are you going to provide this PowerPoint?
Yeah, if you guys need it, yeah, why not?
Yeah, you can give it to me, or
yeah,
that would be fine. All right. Well, I would like to thank you for talking to us tonight. Everybody in the chat seems to think that it was a great presentation. So
I think just email address is enough, right?
Yeah, that should be fine.
I'll just, it should be good to go.
And while we're waiting, before we wrap up, if you guys like the presentation tonight and you're looking for other events to be involved with, the club has an event coming up on September 14th that is being hosted remotely and on campus in Westgate if you are local. It is the Trace Labs Missing Person Capture the Flag. So you find information on real missing people local to State College, and you play it like a capture the flag. So all the information you find gets assigned points, and whatever you find at the end goes to the local police to help find the missing people. So if you're interested in that, I'm holding an info session tomorrow on Zoom at the same time, 8. All the info is on our Facebook page and on our website, but there are events on our Facebook page, so you can go there and you can get the Zoom link. So with that, I would like to thank you again, Joab, for talking to us tonight.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for taking your time for this session. I really appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.